Hello.
And welcome to my 6-month review of van life. I don't even know if this microphone is on, but we're gonna give it a whirl.
When it whirls.
I had this big idea for this 6-month review video. I went out and actually filmed a video on the salt flats. The wind was too strong, and honestly, I was thinking a lot about what I wanted to talk about. My heart just wasn't in it.
My heart went oops. Yeah.
So this is gonna be much more meaningful, I think.
Just stop thinking, struggling, grasping, confusing, itching, scratching, mumbling, bumbling, grumbling, humbling, stumbling, grinding away at yourself. Stop it and just do it.
Well, that was awkward.
Yes, it was.
So what is it like to live out of a van? What is it like to live the van life, to travel full time, to have your own home on wheels and be self-sufficient? I think today is a great day to talk about that because I'm sitting here by this beautiful river. Fucking semis. I'm sitting here by this beautiful river outside Canyon City in Colorado. But about 2 hours ago, I was sitting in a Walmart parking lot inside my van in Colorado Springs, feeling kind of, no, who am I kidding? Not kind of.
I am dead inside.
And that is, I think, why this makes this such a perfect time to talk about this, because van life is not amazing 100% of the time. A lot of the time, you're sitting in a Walmart parking lot just feeling, ugh. And then the benefit of van life kicks in when 2 hours later, I am here next to this beautiful river in this beautiful area of the world with my home here, about to have some food, comfortable, and able to get away from what was making me feel just stuck. So perhaps the first and most important thing to note about living out of a van and traveling around in a van and my 6-month review is it's not always amazing, but the amazing parts and this more than make up for the shittiest parts of living out of a van. And I think this is a pretty good example of a pretty damn good part about living out of a van.
You're gonna be doing a lot of doobie rolling when you're living in a van down by the river.
I am literally just driving along on my way to where I want to hike tomorrow, which is going to be beautiful. And I decided to pull off on one of these little pull-offs next to this river. And then the river is just the perfect temperature for the 70-degree weather. The sun is out and there's this rocky shoal here for me to be able to just set up my chair, sit with my feet in the water, and enjoy a little bit of sun.
Down by the river.
Not all moments in the van are exactly like this at all, by no means, but these moments are interspersed in an unpredictable and wonderful way if you're just willing to diverge from your plan a little bit and go with the flow. No pun intended. Okay, so now that we have our clothes back on,
How disappointing.
I'm gonna do a more in-depth discussion of the pros and cons and things I've learned and things that I suggest you get used to before you set out in your van later, maybe on top of a mountain or something. But for right now, I wanna talk about some pretty simple, practical things that I've found to be useful in the van and that I think maybe you guys will too. The first one is this little broom. Absolutely essential for being able to keep the van clean. This area right here, the direct entrance, gets super dirty. At the beach, at the ski resort, wherever I am, I clean my feet off before I get into the van. And being able to just sweep out real quick with this is wonderful. I normally open up the back and sweep out the back. It's great. Number two, and I didn't expect this, was this little rug right here. This placed right here in the entrance keeps so much dirt from getting in the van because it accumulates on here and then I just take it out, bang it against the tire. An added benefit is when I'm skiing or surfing or at the beach, I will just throw the mat right down in front of the van and then it becomes my welcome mat for me to be able to sit down, change my shoes, use the broom to scrape my shoes off, whatever it might be. And it really helps keep the van a cleaner space. Next is actually this seat cover on my seat right here. It is USB powered, so it plugs in right here by my drink holders, and then it has this little remote, and it has 2 settings for heat, one like extreme heat and then one mild, and then 3 settings for the air that it blows up, and it pulls from a little fan down between my feet. So when I'm crossing the Arizona desert, it's 115 degrees and the sun is coming through this giant porthole to heat. I just turn this on and I have the full blow setting.
What did you say?
Full blow setting.
And then I turn on my AC and I put it on feet so that it sucks the cold air from the air conditioning on the feet area up into here and blows it up, and it completely changes traveling across deserts, really traveling anywhere. Instead of having sweaty cheeks everywhere you go, you can arrive smooth and clean and dry.
Yes, 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 yes.
So I bought a crock pot after watching Foresty Forest. Many of you know, use it so successfully in his van life. I bought one that fits right in my sink, and then it's right here next to the AC plug, so I can run it when I drive, so there's no energy loss because the alternator or the isolator pulls off the alternator and totally eliminates the pole. But then it also is just safe and secure inside the sink so that when I'm driving, there's no chance of it splashing around. And then I got one with a rubber seal around the edge too, so that it really is tight, yeah, and secure. And I've used it for, I don't know, a couple thousand miles, and I've yet to have any accidents. This has made a huge difference. Another thing, my wool blankets. When I get in bed at night, no matter whether it's cold or not, if I have these wool blankets, just 2 or 3 of them, it completely changes the van from feeling like a frigid, hard to fall asleep place to perfectly controlled temperature because it traps the body heat in so well. I love my wool blankets, and I don't know what I would do if I didn't have a couple of them around. Finally, and this one has surprised me a little bit in how much I have fallen in love with it, but this Sirocco Elite wall fan that has the gimbal, it moves around, it can pretty much face any direction I need it to, and is incredibly energy efficient as well as quiet. I will use this constantly. One, because it's very nice to be able to move air around in the van, push it towards whatever windows are open, because this is where you eat, sleep, change your clothes, clean your body. It's where all sorts of different stuff goes on. Ostensibly, it's where you also use the restroom if you have one of those built in your van. There's all sorts of odors in here. It's your dirty laundry. So being able to move the air around, absolutely amazing. Another aspect, obviously, to be able to cool down on those especially hot days. But then the new thing that I've really started to love it for is, as you can see, it's right here by the bed. I will be laying here in whatever, parking lots, middle of the national forest. It doesn't matter where I am. Little noises or a lot of noise, whatever it might be, it's very easy to have a hard time sleeping when every 2 hours a truck comes by, and that huge change in sound jars you. Having this right here on creates a very consistent and continuous low sound, like white noise, which then drowns out so much, and I've been sleeping so much better just having this in the van. For the things I do for cool shots, we're just gonna sit right here. There's a lot of pros and cons to van life, as most anyone can tell you. I would say for me, one of the more practical and immediate stressful things was having to find a place to park every single night. That was stressful, that was a pain. What I've realized is, after 6 or 7 months now, it's kind of like a learned skill. In the way I like to describe it is, I have learned how much risk I'm willing to accept for any given parking place that I park. I've been given tickets, I've been kicked out, I've been plows coming at the middle of the night. It's however much risk you're willing to entertain for each place you sleep. That's kind of how it works. There are some always going to be safe places, as safe as in nobody's going to make you leave, like Walmarts, but some places, like most of Colorado, have made it so that all Walmarts are now no overnight parking Walmarts, which really sucks. Oh! Just spilled water all over myself. So other than having to find a place to park, I would say doing it alone really sucks. So I am single, been single for a while. I'm not complaining, I'm just thinking about other things.
He needs some milk!
Doing van life alone can be really hard because you see so much beauty and you're all alone. It doesn't make it any easier that almost every single van you'll pass, if you do this alone, there'll be 2 people sitting in the front seat.
Blow it out.
Be prepared to really get in touch with yourself, which I think has been invaluable the last 6 months alone.
Wilson!
And then learn how to appreciate beauty all alone, but still look forward to sharing it with someone else too, because that's kind of how my outlook has been now. It's not that I never will share it with someone, it's that I'm even more excited now to share it with someone because I appreciate what it means to share it with yourself, to be alone. Like I was mentioning previously, the ability to be able to go where you need to go to shift your mood or get excited, or for me, accomplish a video project, whatever it might be, at the flip of a hat, it's pretty much indescribable. The ability to be able to just go, the ability to be able to be somewhere new within a couple of hours, with your home with you, with water, food, electricity, all of it all set. I will also say I'm incredibly grateful for the way that I built my van. There are some things that I would do differently or that I complain about, but as far as the water, electrical, heating, ventilation with windows and everything, it's really, really, really great. I feel comfortable in there, I feel safe in there, and it's my little home that I take wherever I go. I don't think van life is for everyone, because you're gonna be put in situations where you have to be able to adapt, you have to be able to change, you have to be able to shift what you want, how you feel, etc., in order to make it worth it. You have to be able to be comfortable not being able to find a place to sleep at 11 p.m. during a snowstorm, in a place with no parking signs everywhere because it's a super ritzy tourist town. So even just that in and of itself, having to be super flexible and having to be flexible with all sorts of things, your level of being able to sleep, because who knows, maybe a plow goes by every half hour and keeps you awake, or maybe there's animals outside, or maybe there's people outside, whatever it might be. The need to constantly be finding a new place to park, to work, to sleep, to whatever it might be, all of that constant change and shifting is really difficult. It is more than worth it for what you get, for what your reward is, but that by no means changes how difficult it can be sometimes being a wandering, listless homad hobo.
Fool me once, strike one, but fool me twice, strike three.
Another thing that I think a lot of people don't even consider is whether you build your own van or not. Part of living out of the van for me was building it, in that without building it, I wouldn't be able to live out of it. So I consider that part of living out of the van was the struggle of building it. So if you have the resources and the desire to pay someone else, that's great. From what I've seen, it feels very different to have someone else having built your van. Whereas if you've built your van with your own two hands, that's probably one of the more rewarding things that I've done in my life. And then to be able to reap the benefit of traveling around in what you build, it's pretty inexplicably wonderful. As far as some practical things, staying clean, I take my opportunities to swim whenever I can, like yesterday. I use baby wipes every single day, and that keeps me not dirty. But then, like today, after this hike, I'm all cut up and scraped and dirt and all that different stuff. I will either need to find a place to swim, do a full body baby wipe time, which is still not great, pay for a shower if I really wanted it, or, use friends, family, lovers, etc., take showers at their places.
If only it were that easy.
It's not unbearable to be without showers for long periods of time. After the beach and after hiking and everything, there's just that crusty feel.
That's disgusting.
There's that feeling of everything is not completely clean because you're not submerged in water. Some people pay for gas stations like Love's for showers. Some people have gym memberships, whatever floats your boat, but it's definitely doable. As for what it costs, when you're out here on the road, gas is number one for me. I think I get 15 roughly miles to the gallon if I'm not pressing it at 85 to 90 miles an hour. So if I get 50 miles to the gallon and then I have a 25-gallon tank, filling that up every day or two if I'm driving long distances can very quickly pile up to be a lot of money, more than rent really. But I also have driven maybe 40,000 miles in the last 6 months, so I'm definitely probably above average for distance traveled. So maybe you won't spend as much money on gas, but it is one of my top considerations. Overall, I would more than encourage pretty much anyone to at least try, to at least move towards buying your own van, building your own van, whatever it might be. You can bail out at the last minute, you can resell your van, you can do whatever, and maybe you'll come at a loss for some cash or something. But if by chance this is something that is for you, I don't think there's anything I'd rather have done with my 24th and half of my 25th year in life than be out here traveling around, living out of my self-built van. So go try it. Climbing down the rocks, trying not to fall. Very sore, very tired, bleeding from my legs. Ah, that's my song. So much pain in me.